Hello there, everyone, and welcome back to our virtual science classroom. And class, congratulations because we are now in the third quarter of school year 2020 to 2021. And this time, we are going to tackle about quarter three, week number one. Since you already know about the different branches of physics, let us have first our prayer for today. Thank you so much for that wonderful prayer that you have given to us this morning. And Secretary, kindly check the attendance. How many boys and how many girls do we have for today? Okay? And please update me in our messenger for it. And our topic is all about physics right now, but specifically based on the pictures that you are seeing right now, it's all about describing motion. Okay? So you already know, you already watched the different branches of physics, and describing motion is one of the different topics in physics. Okay, you can see there a running man or you can see there a moving car. So today, you are going to know about motion o kung ano ba yung paggalaw. Diba? So alam lang natin, we are moving, right? So everything is moving, or we can say that this thing is moving, but how can we describe the things in motion? So let's start. So these supplementary learning materials will help us, number one, describe distance and displacement. And for lesson number two, we are going to describe speed and velocity. So let's start. So let us just have a look back. So all you have to do is to identify the type of motion from the given picture. So choose the answer from the box below. So I have here the different answers inside the box. So we have vertical motion, rotary motion, circular motion, horizontal motion, and curved motion. So number one is given. Okay, so this is Sir Isaac Newton. When he observed that the apple fell on the ground, that is a vertical motion kasi pababa. Okay, vertical yung kanyang movement, pababa. Okay, so that is gravitational force, right? So, dyan na na-discover yung gravitational force. So, that is a vertical motion. For picture letter B, what can you say about the picture? You choose your answer here inside. How about letter C? It's like a rotonda. You can choose the answer inside the box. And or letter D, number 4. What can you say about this picture? And number 5, look at the picture and guess what type of motion it is. Okay, so that is just a look back. And now, we are going to discuss about distance and displacement. So, ito yung alam lang natin, maybe, distansya, di ba? Usually, naririnig na natin to, but we do not know how to describe distance. And right now, another word that you see today or hear today is displacement. Okay, let's go for this lesson number 1. So as a brief introduction, when you are riding in a jeepney, so araw-araw naman tayo, di ba, before, when there is no pandemic, so lagi tayo nagta-travel, nagpo-commute using a jeepney. Kung hindi man jeepney, siguro kung may sarili kayong sasakyan, tricycle pwede rin naman, or motor. Okay? So when you are riding in a jeepney, you will observe that the things seem to be moving away from you, like houses, people, trees, animals, right? You observe that. So in fact, you and the other passenger inside the jeepney are moving with the vehicle kasi gumagalaw kayo. You know that an object has moved either by describing the distance it has covered for a certain time or how far from where it was originally located. For example, kung sumakay ka ng moving trip, nakikita mo, di ba, yung mga tao parang gumagalaw din sila, or yung store gumagalaw din sila, yung building gumagalaw din sila. But in fact, you as the passenger and even the vehicle are moving. Okay? At malalaman mo na kayo ay nag-move kung galing ka doon sa point of reference mo or doon sa initial reference mo. Ibig sabihin kung saan ka nagsimula, kung ang point of reference mo or yung starting point mo ay galing kang Supplementary Station on the way to Doroteo Station. It means that you moved. Okay? Kasi may distance kang na-covered from a certain time or how far from where it was originally located. Siyempre, nababago yung oras. Pag nabago yung oras at wala ka na sa lugar na yun na dati mong pinuntahan, it means you are moving. Okay, so an object's motion can be described the change in its position with respect to its original or initial location in a given time. So yung initial location, ito yung point of reference. Kung sinabi natin point of reference, yung starting point. Kumbaga kung meron kayong marathon, kung merong racing ng car, okay, ang starting point, yun ang point of reference or initial location. That is 0 centimeters or 0 kilometers, 0 meters. Okay? Initial yun kasi kaya wala pa siyang bilang. So we say that an object has moved either by pointing how far it is from its initial position. For instance, etong tao na to, itong soccer player na to, sinipa niya yung soccer ball. So as you can see, it travels a very far distance. So the total traveled or covered length is the distance. Okay, itong part na to, this is the point of reference or this is the initial position, and then where it stops is its final position or final location. Kumbaga, ito yung starting point o yung start ng line, then ito yung finish line or yung finish point. Okay? So that's how we describe object that is moving. Next, suppose a family walked in their way home as shown in the diagram below. Later on the next slide, you will see a diagram, for example, from our house or from your house on the way to school. Para ka nagbibigay ng map, okay, na may direction. So how far did they walk on their way to their house? Two ways to answer this question. So may dalawang bagay tayo na pwedeng i-discuss dito para ma-describe natin kung paano sila naglakad papunta dun sa bahay nila. Okay, first is by determining the total length of path traveled by the object. Do not forget that. Determining the total length path traveled, yung kabuuan ng nilakad mo. Okay? In the diagram, the family walked 4 meters to the east, then 3 meters to the north. So, makita natin. Okay, this one. So, meron tayong 4 meters to the east and then 3 meters to the north. So, ito, to the east, 4 meters, to the north, 3 meters. So, galing sila siguro dito yung starting point nila papunta sa bahay nila. So, 4 plus 3, that is 7 meters. So, yun yung total distance path travel. So, balik tayo. So, the total length path travel is 7 meters. Katulad na sinabi natin kanina. The other way is by measuring the distance between the initial position and the final position of the object. So, let's go to this is the initial position. Ito yung starting point nila. Yung finish point nila is the house, yung bahay nila. Yung finish line nila. So, kailangan natin ma-measure yung distance between the initial position and the final position. So, by examining the diagram, the family has traveled 5 meters to the northeast. So, yun yung in general. So, northeast sila nag-travel kasi kung makikita nyo, north and then east. So, kung kukunin nyo yun, that is 5 meters northeast. Okay, yun yung displacement. Yung total path traveled, that is 7 meters. Okay, ito yung distansya. Distance, yung total path traveled, yung buong nilakad nyo. Yung displacement, ito yung short distance o yung tinatawag natin shortcut. Okay, kaya kung mapapansin nyo, displacement is lower than distance. Okay, because distance is the total path traveled, like 4 meters to the east, 3 meters to the north, and displacement is only 5 meters northeast. Okay. So, kung mahilig kayo maglaro ng mga racing game, sometimes sa mga racing game, meron silang mga shortcut na ginagamit. So, yun yung displacement. Okay, so generally in science, the first measurement gives the distance traveled by the object, which is represented by the broken lines. Mamaya, makikita niyo yung broken lines. While the second measurement gives the displacement represented by the continuous line. So ito yun. So this one is the distance composed of the broken lines. Okay. Yan, yung mga putol-putol na linya. While this one, this continuous line is the displacement, the shortcut. Distance, long cut. Displacement, shortcut. Okay, do not forget that class. Okay, let's proceed. So things to remember when we are talking about describing motion. Motion is the change in position with respect to fixed point. So for example, pwede kang mag-experiment ng sarili mo. So paglalakad mo, galing ka sa bahay on the way to the school, pwede kang gumamit ng orasan. So i-timer mo yung sarili mo, gaano ka kabilis maglakad. O, di ba, syempre, iba naman yung oras mo nung nag-start ka maglakad hanggang makapunta ka ng school. So you can determine your motion. So if you are too fast or too slow in walking, kung lagi kang nililate or too early naman sa school, di ba? Then distance is the length of the path traveled by a body while moving from initial position to a final position. It is equal to the sum of all distances traveled in different directions. It is measured in meters or kilometers. There is always a distance covered whenever there is a motion. Remember that. Always a distance covered whenever there is a motion. Laging may distansya. Next, displacement is the shortest distance between the initial position and the final position of the body. It can be positive or negative depending on the reference point o kung saan ka nagsimula. It can be zero if the object returns to its initial position. Kumbaga, bumalik. Okay, for example, galing kang bahay, pumunta ka na school, then bumalik ka ulit ng bahay. So it depends. It can be zero. So it has the same unit as distance. Pwede rin siyang meters, centimeters, kilometers. Okay? Next, for lesson number 2, we are going to tackle about speed and velocity. So speed and velocity, alam na siguro natin yung speed. Yung velocity, medyo hindi ko pa naririnig. Pero kung kayo ay may mga sasakyan, or if you do know about like cars or different vehicles, you are aware of velocity. So as a brief introduction of these two, another way of describing motion of an object is by determining how fast or how slow it moves. Alam niyo na yan. This is speed. So the measure of how fast something is moving is called speed. So hindi lang ibig sabihin kapag mabilis yun ng speed. Pero kahit mabagal, ibig sabihin, may speed pa rin. Okay? Tatanggalin nyo sa utak nyo. Pag sinabing speed, laging mabilis lang, laging fast lang. But even though it is very slow or slow in motion, that is also considered as speed. Okay, so the measure of how fast something is moving is called speed. Speed is the distance traveled by an object per unit time. So ito may kasama na yung oras. So the distance traveled may be in a straight line or around the corner. Hence, it pertains to the rate of change of position. It does not indicate the change in direction of the motion. Therefore, it is a scalar quantity, a quantity described only through its magnitude. So pag sinabi natin magnitude, it is composed of a number and a unit. For example, 1 meter, 1 centimeters, 1 number, unit, centimeters. So, number and unit, that is magnitude. Okay. So, we have scalar and vector quantities. So, what is the difference between scalar and vector quantities? So, pag sinabi natin scalar quantities, this is only composed of magnitude. So, yun nga tulad ng sinabi ko kanina, number and unit. So, an example niya, distance, speed, time, mass, temperature. So, example ng distance, 1 meter, speed, 1 meter per second, time, 1 second, okay, mass, sabihin natin 1 kilogram, diba, number lang saka unit, yun lahat ng scalar quantities, and many more. Pag sinabi naman natin vector quantities, this is composed of magnitude plus direction. Kapag may direction na, vector quantity siya. Okay, anong example nito? Displacement. Katulad nung kanina, di ba? 5 meters northeast. Di ba may direction northeast? So, velocity, acceleration, force, weight, and then moment. So, example natin yung kanina, displacement. 5 meters northeast. May number, may unit, at may direction. Yung northeast. Velocity. Example, 5 meters per second. So usually, ito yung makikita nyo na dun sa mga sasakyan. Gaano kabilis kayo tumakbo? So 5 meters ba yung na-cover nyo in a second? Yan, or 10 meters ba yung na-cover nyo in a second? So, dun yung makikita yan. Usually, ito rin, narinig nyo rin to sa mga weather newscaster natin, di ba? Tumatakbo ng 10 kilometers per hour yung bagyo. Ayan, ibig sabihin, kapag umabot ng 200 kilometers per hour, sobrang bilis na ng bagyo, maraming nagsasalanta. So, doon yung siya nakikita or naririnig. So, that is the difference between scalar and vector quantities. Again, scalar quantities composed of magnitude, number, and unit only, while vector quantities is composed of magnitude plus direction, which means number, unit, and direction. Clear? Go to the next one. So, if you're going to solve for the speed, this is the formula that you should use. Average speed, like total distance divided by total elapsed time, or distance divided by time. Ang speed, pwede natin makuha. Just look at this triangle. Okay, para hindi kayo mahirapan. So, speed, kapag si speed ang hinahanap, distance divided by time. Okay, hahanapin nyo lang si distance. So, si distance, nakikita nyo that the unit of distance are meters, centimeters, kilometers. Yan. So, si time, alam nyo na yan. So, kapag time, ang unit na time, second, minute, and hours. So, pwede ganon. So, speed is equal to distance divided by time. Okay, get it? Kapag si time naman ang hinahanap, okay, for example, si time ang hinahanap natin, distance divided by speed. Okay? Distance divided by speed. So, that's how you derive the formula. Mas madali. Next, paano kung si distance naman yung hinahanap natin? Okay? This time, multiply naman natin si speed to time. Multiply speed to time. Okay? So, ganun lang kadali yan. Speed, kapag speed ang hinahanap natin, or we are asking, or we are looking for speed, just divide distance to time. Distance divided by time, speed. If time is asked, distance divided by speed. If distance is asked in the problem, just multiply speed to time. Okay? So do not forget how are we going to derive the formula here. Just go back to this video. Then next, units for distance with respect to time are kilometers per hour, or kph. Ito yung usually nakikita natin sa speedometer. Speedometer ang tawag din sa may sasakyan. May gumagamit. That is kilometers per hour, centimeters per second. Yan, makikita rin natin yan. Meters per second. Hindi na makikita natin kapag velocity. Kapag speed. Then, average speed describes the average rate of moment during the entire time of travel throughout the entire distance traveled. So, the same lang din ang formula of the average speed. Average speed is equal to distance or total distance divided by total time. Okay, so tandaan, ito yung mga units na pwede natin gamitin sa speed. Kilometers per hour, centimeters per second, or meters per second. Okay, and this is the formula for average speed. Okay, so next, when a direction is associated with speed, it refers to a new quantity. This is now the velocity. Okay, ito na yung speed with direction. Unit or number, unit with direction. So the velocity of an object describes how fast the object moves and in what direction is it heading. So velocity is a vector quantity, tulad ng diniscuss natin a while ago. So vector quantities describe both magnitude and its direction. A weather report on a storm moving 100 kilometers per hour towards Batanes group of islands is about the storm's velocity. If an object's speed doesn't change, then we say it has a constant speed. If an object's velocity doesn't change, then we say it is traveling at a constant velocity. So pag sinabi natin constant, ibig sabihin hindi nagbabago. It remains the same. Okay? So kapag nakita natin ang object na hindi naman nagbago yung speed niya, that is constant speed. For example, tumakbo ka lang ng 5 kilometers per hour. Simula sa bahay hanggang trabaho mo, 5 kilometers per hour lang din. That is constant speed. Okay? Next, if an object velocity doesn't change, then we say it is traveling at a constant velocity. For example, ang dami mong dinaan ng iskinita, ang dami mong dinaan ng mga lugar, marami kang direction na pinuntahan, pero hindi pa rin nagbago yung speed mo, that is a constant velocity because there is no change at all. Kapag walang pagbabago, no change in velocity, no change in speed, that is constant speed and that is constant velocity. Okay, like this one. This is how we describe it in diagram. Constant speed and constant velocity. Speed and then velocity. So, this is an activity that you need to answer. So, wind speed and direction. Table below shows the weather bulletin for Typhoon Ursula last December 2019. So, all you have to do is to study the different information that can be seen here inside the table. So, we have the different time. So, in December 24, 2 p.m., December 24 at 5 p.m., and then December 25 at 11 a.m. So we have the location of the center, strength of wind, maximum or gustings, and then movement. So tingnan nyo mabuti kung saan lugar at yung strength ng wind kung gaano sila kabilis. Okay? So, yan. Okay, paano ba sila mag-move? Then study the weather bulletin above. The storm wind moves in circles, so which also determines its strength. Okay, so you need to answer the following. Watch the video to review or rewatch and answer all the questions in your modules in your Google Classroom. So if you have the time for you to answer, please, you can answer on your notebook and take a picture, then attach it there. So for lesson number 1, answer the pretest pages 2 to 3. Then answer also pages 4 to 6. For lesson number 2, answer pages 7 to 8. And the post-test is located at page 8. So do not forget to answer it. Okay, so please make it easy for you to answer it very early so that you will not have a lot of things to do when lesson 1, lesson 2, and then week number 2 will come in. You will not be fully loaded. Okay? So, as early as now, you can answer and then attach it to our Google Classroom. So, if you have any questions, if you have any clarifications, you can contact me. You can message me, especially in our group chat. So, if you have like personal concern or technical glitch, you can reach me through our messenger. You can reach me through our YouTube or Instagram or even my Facebook page. So you can reach me to those different social media accounts. Okay? And that's all for our quarter 3 week number 1, all about describing motion. I hope you understood it well and have a nice day. God bless you more. Teacher Da signing off. Bye everyone.